Hello students, let us start with module 4, which is virtual memory management. In today's video, we will be covering the first three topics, that is the background of virtual memory, demand paging and copy on write. Virtual memory is nothing but separation of user logical memory and physical memory. Physical memory is nothing but main memory, guys. Okay, so physical memory is also called as main memory. So virtual memory gives an illusion to the user that we are having the entire address space of a process that is loaded into the physical memory. We know that a program in execution is called as process. Process is divided into pages. Pages are divided into instructions, and these instructions are loaded onto the main memory or the physical memory and is executed by the CPU. So here main memory is not containing the entire pages of the process, but virtual memory gives an illusion to the user that the entire process is loaded onto the main memory, but that is not the fact. Okay, so in virtual memory you're having a separation of logical memory that is containing the entire address space, and you're separating it from the physical memory, which means only a part of the program needs to be in the main memory for execution. That is, whatever the CPU requires at that particular point of time, only those pages are brought into the main memory or the physical memory. But then virtual memory gives an illusion to the user that the entire process itself has been brought into the main memory or physical memory. So logical address space can therefore be much larger than the physical address space. Okay, so whichever is required is only got into the physical address space or the physical memory or the main memory. Allows address spaces to be shared by several processes. That is, you can have multi-processing or multi-programming. That is, you can let more than one process share the main memory at a point of time using this virtual memory concept. And how do we implement virtual memory? It is implemented by a concept by name demand paging. We will briefly now see what a demand paging is. Let us move on to the next slide. Okay, so virtual memory that is larger than physical memory. Okay, so as I said, in virtual memory we have an illusion of let's say this is a process. Okay, and all the pages with respect to that process is loaded into the virtual memory. This is a logical memory. Okay, and then here we have a data structure called as page table. We will see that in depth in the coming slides. Okay, this is physical memory or the main memory. Okay, so as I said, as in when the CPU requires a particular instruction or a particular page, that is loaded from this virtual memory or this table onto this main memory. Okay, and you have a data structure here. So we find some references or bits that I'll be explaining you in detail in the coming slides. Okay, so consider that pages are got from a virtual table and then they are loaded onto the physical memory. So there goes two arrows, one to the physical memory and one to the secondary storage device. This is a secondary storage device such as your hard disks. Okay, so some pages will be in the physical memory or the main memory, and some pages will be in the secondary memory. And when CPU requires a particular page which is not in the main memory, okay, then it will search the secondary memory. That is, see here we have a page which is in the secondary memory and that is got into the main memory here. Okay, so here the virtual memory appears to be larger than the physical memory. That is, only the required pages will be brought into the physical memory or main memory. Demand paging. This is a very important concept, guys. Demand paging. Okay, as the term itself says, it is demand paging, which means that when a CPU demands a page, only then it is got into the main memory. Otherwise, it is not brought into the main memory. Bring a page into memory only when it is needed is demand paging. So what are the uses of implementing demand paging? You have less input output needed, that is less of input output operations. It is, instead of taking the entire set of pages belonging to a particular process, you only tend to bring in the pages that are required by the CPU. Less physical memory required. As I said, you only bring in pages that are required, so definitely you will be having less physical memory that is required. Faster response, that is, since you are getting only the required pages, so it will result in a faster response to the operations. And as I said, more uses, so it is multi-programming or multi-processing, so more than one user could be executing their processes in parallel if this concept of demand paging is implemented. Now, to differentiate if a page is present in the main memory or in the disk, you have a bit called as valid invalid bit. Okay, so valid bit which is indicated by V and invalid bit which is indicated by I. So if a valid bit is set which is V, then it means a page is valid. That means this page is actually existing. That is, this page is valid and it is also present in the main memory. Only then you set the valid invalid bit to V. Invalid means this page could be valid or could be invalid, but it is not residing in the main memory. That means what? This page could be valid and residing in the disk, or it could be invalid which is not existing anywhere. Okay, so there are two possibilities in invalid. It could be valid but not residing in the main memory, which means it is residing in the disk, or it could be invalid which is not at all residing in any of the places. Okay, so these are the this is what is the significance of a valid invalid bit. Okay, so here we have a diagram, transfer of a paged memory to contiguous disk space. You know that in a disk we have blocks. Okay, so this is an example of contiguous disk space. Okay, as I said, one benefit of demand paging is you could be running multiple programs at a time. So we have two programs here, program A and program B. So when program B has to execute, that is when, let's say, there is no necessary need of program A in the main memory. That is when it is being swapped out to the disk, and whatever is required is swapped into the disk. It is at this point of time program CPU wanted to execute program B, so all the pages with respect to program B is brought in from the disk to the main memory, and since program A was no longer needed right now, so its pages are being swapped out from the main memory to the disk. Okay, moving on to valid and invalid bit. As you all know, we have two values for valid and invalid bit. One which means which is in memory, represented by V. Okay, so 1 or V represents that the page is in memory. Okay, that is our main memory or physical memory, and 0 is it is not in the memory. That is, there can be two chances: either it is not at all present anywhere, or it is not in the main memory but residing in the disk. Okay, initially this bit is set to 0 for all the entries. So this is how it is implemented. And remember guys, a page when not in main memory is called a page. But then when it is brought into the main memory, it is called as frame. That is why, so don't get confused between pages and frames. So when page is used in main memory, it is called as frame. Okay, so that is why this is a frame here. Okay, so see here we have values 1 and 0. 1 means it is present in the main memory, and 0 means it is not present in the main memory. Okay, so during address translation, if valid invalid bit in the page table entry is 0, then it is page fault. So page fault is a scenario where the page is not residing in the main memory. It is whenever you see a 0, which means it is a page fault. The page is not residing in the main memory, gives for page fault. Okay, so that is the actual meaning of page fault. Okay, let's move on to the next diagram. Okay, so this diagram depicts page table when some pages are not in the main memory. So here this is a logical memory. Consider this as a process, and process has pages from A to H, and this is the page numbers here, guys. Okay, 0 to 7, all the pages that belongs to a particular process T. Okay, you also have a physical memory here and a page table here, which gives us value of valid and invalid bit. Okay, so right now for each of the pages, 8 pages here, you have a valid and an invalid bit set. So which means what? 0th page, which is A, is residing in the main memory. And then what is this? The second page, which is C, is residing in the main memory. That is why it has been set to B, which is valid bit. Also, the fifth page, which is F, I mean from 0 to 7, if you consider, that is the fifth page, which is F, is also valid because it is in the main memory or the physical memory. And the rest of the pages are set to invalid because they are not found in the main memory. Okay, yeah. Now, what is this number? This is the frame number. As I said, this is address translation. On the outer side, you have the page numbers, and here you have the frame numbers. For example, see here, these are the frame numbers here, right? So let's say that this physical memory or the main memory has totally 16 frames, that is 0 to 15. And when you count, A is stored in frame 4. So this is a frame. C is stored in frame 6 and F is stored in frame 9. Okay. And remember guys, here, let's say A, B, C, D, E and F. What about G and H? G and H are not in the secondary storage. Okay, so this could be invalid. This is invalid, but they are not, as well as they are not in the secondary storage. So this is how we represent the valid and invalid bit. So valid bit is said to be if the pages are present in the physical memory as well as they are present in disk. It is said to valid. It is set to valid if they are present in main memory. They will be set to invalid if they are not found in the main memory. Okay, so as I said, what is page fault? Whenever you don't find a particular page in the main memory, that is when CPU is trying to execute a process and it requires a certain page, and then when it finds in the when it does not find that particular page in the main memory, which means that page is missing in the main memory. So this scenario is called as page fault. Okay, so if a page is present in the main memory, then CPU execution is going to be normal. If CPU does not find the required page in the main memory, the condition is called as page fault. A trap is given to the OS. That is, a message is given to the OS by CPU saying that I am not finding the particular page. So what happens is a trap is given to OS, and then we get an empty frame. That is, as I said, CPU does not find a particular page, right? So when it wants a particular page, it will issue a trap. And when it issues a trap, this is a disk. So definitely that page will be here, okay, in the disk. And to bring in this particular page into the main memory or the physical memory, we need to find a free frame, okay? Only then we can get this page onto the main memory. So we have to get an empty frame from the free frame list, then bring the page from the disk to the new frame here. Okay, then after we bring it, you know that there is a page table, right? In this page table we will be setting B and I. Okay, so initially since the page was missing, the entry was filled with I. So after the page has been brought into the main memory, we have to now reset this table, that is a page table, as well as certain other tables which are internal tables, to B or 1, and then we have to restart the instruction. So we have a very good picture in the coming slide here which shows how do we handle page fault. So let's say there is an instruction loading, okay, and this instruction in the page table is found to be invalid. That is, this particular page is found to be invalid. That means it is not in the main memory. So it is number 1. Okay, first step. So it is found to be invalid. So what does the CPU do? CPU will be issuing a trap to OS, which is second step. After that, in the third step, the page will be searched for in the disk. This is the disk. Page is on the backing store, which is disk. That is the third step. After the page is found, we have to find a free frame in the physical memory in order to bring in this page onto the main memory or physical memory. So fourth step is bring in the missing page. Okay. So after you bring in the missing page to main memory, since now the page is in the main memory, we have to reset the page table. That is the step 5. Okay, we have to change this I to V, indicating the page is now residing in the main memory. And the last step is to restart this load instruction. Okay, this is a very important diagram and very easy to remember as well. Okay, now as I said, if you remember, as I said, in order to get a page from the disk onto the main memory, you should find a free frame for it, right? Yeah. What if there is no free frame in the physical memory or the main memory? That is, the physical memory or the main memory is full and there is no free frame. Then there is problem, right? So how do you handle that problem? This is called as page replacement. So as I said, you have to bring in the required page by allocating a frame, free frame. But if the main memory is completely full, that is, there are no free frames, then what do? You have to somehow get that required page into the main memory, but there are no free frames. So this particular scenario can be overcome by a technique called as page replacement. That is, you need to find some page in this main memory which we call as a victim page. Okay, so find some page in the main memory and replace that page by the new page that you are getting from the disk. So this technique is called as page replacement. So you have to find some page in the main memory and you have to but not really in use. You'll see. Okay, this page replacement is a very, very interesting topic. So you will see how this page replacement actually happens. Okay, so you have to find some page or a victim. Okay, and this is victim, and you should choose victim such that it is not really in use. Your victim is always, we refer a victim to is somebody who is very weak, right? So we will decide which page is weaker on certain criteria. Okay, so the ones which are not currently in use, those are identified as victims and they are swapped out and the new page is brought in. And we have several algorithms for this. We have 3 algorithms. You will see that we have FIFO, we have LRU and optimal page replacement algorithm. You'll see those shortly. Okay, performance. Want an algorithm which will result in minimum number of page faults. You know what a page fault is, right? That is, you would want to reduce the number of page faults. That is, you would want to find maximum number of pages in the main memory. That is, avoid page faults. So you should choose an algorithm such that there is less number of page faults. Okay, and same page can be brought into memory many number of times. You will see all these in depth in the coming slides. Coming to not so important topic, copy on write. Okay, so I'll just take little time to explain this. So let's say you know that there is a fork system call, right? What is the job of fork system call? That is, let's say P1 is a parent process and P2 is a child process. So if P1 invokes a fork system call, then P2 is a child process that is born. And initially these 2 processes will be sharing pages, right? They'll be sharing pages here. Okay, so these are shared. So they'll be sharing all the pages. Okay, so let's say the child process, see, this is page number A, this is page number B, this is page number C. Let's say the child process makes a modification on C. Okay, so if P2, which is a child process, makes a modification in C, then we will have a copy of C that is provided only to P2 so that it can modify this page further. So only the pages that can be modified can be given a copy on write. That is, P1 will now work only on C and P2 can work both on C as well as this modified version of C. Okay, so copy on write allows both parent and child process to initially share the same process in the memory. If either process modifies a shared page, only then is the page copied. Okay, so COW allows efficient process creation, has only modified pages are copied. Okay, thank you.